Have you ever been called bipolar because you was having a bad day? Yeah, okay. Have you ever been called narcissistic because you was insisting on getting your point across in a conversation? Possibly. Have you ever been through something traumatic and thought, do I have PTSD, but wasn't for sure? Well, stick around for today's conversation. We may not diagnose you, but we may inform you. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Brown Girls Do Network live series podcast. Thank you for joining us for an inspiring and insightful conversation with Miss Bianca Hallman, a licensed clinical social worker. Growing up in challenging circumstances in New York, Bianca's determination to make a difference never wavered. Her experiences in the Army, where she supported people's mental health, combined with her natural ability to provide advice and support to friends, led her to a fulfilling career in talk therapy. At Beauty and Mind Therapy, Bianca's passion for helping others shine through as she specializes in trauma therapy and guides individuals towards healing and growth. Her approach is rooted in honesty, humor, and intelligence, making her sessions both comfortable and effective. Her personal journey and unwavering faith in God have made her a compassionate and trusted guide for those struggling with sadness and anxiety. In this captivating podcast, we delve into Bianca's holistic approach to well-being, her experiences as a wife and mother, and how she balances her professional and personal responsibilities. Her unwavering dedication to helping others and her deep-rooted belief in the power of faith will inspire and uplift you. Don't miss this opportunity to gain valuable insights from Bianca Hallman as she shares her wisdom and sheds light on the path to protecting your mental health. I am Vanessa Williamson, your host of the Brown Girls Do Network live series podcast, where every brown girl's voice resonates and dreams are empowered. Thank you for joining us on this transformative journey. Please like, share, and comment. Hey y'all, we are back. You there, sis? You all right?
Like, what? I'm so sorry.
You okay?
I'm listening to this beautiful introduction and I'm like, no, but hello.
Hi, how are you? Are you okay over there in your world?
I hope so. I hope we're better now and that we're ready for this interview.
Okay. We are live right now, Bianca. Say hello to the beautiful audience. I was just telling them when I was doing your intro, I said, did y'all see how beautiful she is? You would think you're a model. Okay. However, you're a licensed clinical social worker. You good over there?
That I am.
Okay. And here's the thing, you ladies and gentlemen. In the intro, you saw all of those beautiful pictures. I did not take those pictures. Girl, your photographer is the bomb.
Thank you. Shouts out to Sky Wonders. I hope she's watching. I love her. She is amazing.
She is amazing. Bianca is in Atlanta, Georgia, guys. So, Bianca, you still there, sis? Okay, there you go. You good?
I don't know what is going on. I don't know if we're charged. I don't know. We were great. We had everything together and now technology is whooping my butt.
Oh my gosh, that's okay. You charged? You plugged?
I pray I am.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. How was your day, sis? And what have you done to make the world a better place?
Well, that is a loaded question, but today has been a great day, I have to say. I spoke with this phenomenal woman. Her name is Jessica. I have to get her on your show.
Okay.
So she's a person who's in charge of financing and helping Black women, Black entrepreneurs in particular, get the financing and the capital that they need to jumpstart their entrepreneur journey, right?
Tell us more.
Exactly. The way she caught me is she had an ad and she was discussing how Black women, we go into these beautiful businesses and unfortunately it fails within the first year, I think she said. And it's not because we don't have great ideas. It's because we don't have the capital. And so that caught my attention. And I'm like, yes, tell me more. So we got to get her on your show.
We definitely
Absolutely.
have to get her on our show because here's the thing with us Black and brown women, we don't have, and we have the access, we don't have the knowledge.
There you go.
We
Mhm.
don't have the knowledge. So if we don't have the knowledge, immediately we put ourselves we put ourselves back there and we feel it's overwhelming and it's not for us and we're intimidated by it. However, we are trying to like break down that barrier that we put in front of ourselves. So if we have someone bringing us the information and we know we have access to the information, guess what? We're going to use the information.
Exactly. And that's how I made the world better today because I just gave you that information and you
Yes,
jumped. So there
we
we go.
want. Yes, thank you very much. We want that information. Is she doing anything for you, or is this like a
Oh
paid
yeah.
consultation? Do you have to pay her for the information?
It's a free consultation, but she does have a price. However, we just had this discussion, me and you, that in order to make money, you do have to spend and spend it wisely. And I believe this is going to be a wise just purchase for my company. I really do.
Okay. I wish you luck with that. I'm going to
Thank
be watching because as I've been watching you, and I have to tell the audience, right, how we met. Bianca, do you realize I have known you since 2011?
Isn't that crazy?
2011. This is how we met, you all. I moved to Fort Drum, New York.
Mm,
That's way up there. Okay. They call where we live upstate. Okay. No, that's upstate. It's like 11 miles from Canada. Okay.
literally.
Yes, Fort Drum. I got hired at the ASAP, the Army Substance Abuse Program, at Fort Drum, and you was working for the Behavior Health Department.
I was.
And you was actually in the Army at the time. Yes. How many years was you in the Army in 2000? Oh my God. How many years did you do overall in the
I
Army?
know. So I did 3.5 years.
Okay.
I found a loophole to get me out earlier than the 4. But I have no beef with Uncle Sam. He was very good to me, and I was good to him, and we have no qualms. You know what I mean? So I did the Army for about 3.5, and I remember meeting you, but I don't remember like how it truly transpired. I know you're from New York, and I was
New
from New
Jersey. Yeah, I'm
Jersey.
from New Jersey. It was like it was nothing to do. It was really nothing to do up there. So for some reason, we would always just have these conversations. We would be going back and forward. Oh, hey, Shakira. Shakira said, not the loophole. I met Shakira up at Fort Drum also.
Oh wow!
She was my lifeline. Yep, at
I
Fort
wonder if
Drum.
I know her then, because everyone must know each other there.
I'm sure. So I remember we would just always pass each other in the hallway. And I remember you saying to me and Penelope one time, I can't wait till I can just wear my regular clothes to work one day. Because
Y'all
you
were
was
just so fly. Do you hear me? I love beautiful women, and when they just get done up, it was just like, oh, this green.
but you wore your uniform well.
Thank you.
You wore your uniform well. So tell us about this loophole because that tickles me. That tickles me when you said I did 3.5 years and I found a loophole. What was this loophole?
So, in the military, you can get out early if you're schooling. So, I was going into grad school afterwards, and I
Mhm.
knew this before I got in. If your schooling lands at a certain time of the year, they will allow you out early. I forgot what type of leave or permissive leave it was, but they will
Mhm.
allow you up to about 3 to 4 months early. And I also had some leave saved. For people who don't know, that's like vacation time,
Mhm.
PTO. I had that saved up, put it all together, and I was out of there 6 months early.
You was out of there six
Yeah,
months
yeah,
early.
yeah,
I
yeah.
re- that's hilarious. I remember coming to, and correct me if I'm wrong, you had a leave party, like a ETS
I
party.
did.
You
Oh,
did. And I remember I met your mom at the party because I was like, this your mom?
That's my
What?
mom.
She looks like your sister.
Oh, that's sweet. She's gonna love hearing that because she better be on. But yes.
I definitely remember meeting your mom because literally I was like, this is your mom? Really? Oh my goodness.
Thank
So
you.
you knew you was getting out to go to
Yeah,
grad school.
I did.
Had you was already accepted, you already knew exactly where you was going.
What's wild is I wasn't accepted and I just knew it was going to happen. I do these things where I proclaim it's going to happen and it's
That's
going to
right.
happen. So the first time I set foot into the military, I knew I was
Mhm.
going to leave and go to grad school. I just didn't know it was going to be Clark Atlanta. And they accepted me and it was just beautiful. It's been a beautiful, yes, Clark Atlanta.
Yes, let's give it up to the HBCU. You went to Clark Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
straight from Fort Drum, New York.
Yes, and the military paid for all of it.
I know that's right.
And
Did
HBCUs are expensive. They paid for it all.
did you live on campus?
No. So I stayed at
Okay.
home, right? So I'm
Mhm.
used to being out on my own. Then I go back home and thank you, Mom.
Your mom lives in Atlanta.
She lives in Snellville. So it's not far
Okay.
from Atlanta, but
Mhm.
it's a little drive.
Mhm.
Um, but I ended up staying at home and I was able to just jumpstart everything, just figure out what civilian is what we call it, civilian life is like again.
You
And it was just great.
came
Yeah,
over to our world.
yes, back to reality.
So, when you went to Clark Atlanta, you went to grad school. When we
Mm,
go to grad school, we have to proclaim what we're going for, like our major. Did
yes.
you know you was going to be a social worker?
I did. I knew I was going to go into the social work field. I actually had someone back at Fort Drum tell me that I was selling myself short. I shouldn't do it. Shouldn't do that. I had a lot of naysayers, believe it or not, before I left the military. I had a higher up. She was a Black woman, looked just like us, and she said to me, "I'll never forget. Wow, so you're really leaving the military? Hmm. You think that's a wise decision? I really want to follow you just so I can see how this is going to go because you shouldn't do this." Told me this.
Was she a
Discouraged.
social
No,
worker?
no, she was not.
Okay. Is
Isn't
she
that
following you
wild?
now? Is she
I
following
hope
you?
she is. Hey,
I hope
sis.
she is. I hope she is. And this was a Black woman who said this to you?
Yes, and I left with tears in my eyes. And I have a friend. Her name is Tracy, and she remembers this story, and she brings it up every now
I
again. And
know
she's just like,
Tracy.
"Remember?" Yes, she brings
Uh-huh.
it up. You can ask her for reference, and she'll bring it up and like, "You remember that lady? I wish she could see you now." And it's
That's
not
why
to brag. It's one of those things of why, as a Black woman, would you discourage your sister? And perhaps she did it as a protective factor. Like, I don't want you to go back into civilian world and you won't make it. But that's my kind side. That's my positive thinking side. No.
well, I'm gonna say she was projecting her fear
Mm,
over to you.
I hear you,
I'm
social.
gonna say she probably did not want you to excel over her.
Mm,
That's the way I see it. I don't the way I'm hearing it, I'm not hearing any motivation or positivity from it, right?
yeah.
When I really wish you would have had that conversation with me because I would have been like, yes, girl, do it. Do
Mm,
it.
mhm, mm,
Because when I was in undergrad, I remember a young lady saying to me, I don't want to be a social worker. They don't make any money. And she was in the social work program. They don't make any money. I was like, no, sis, you're not going to make any money.
there
I'm
we
going
go.
to make money.
Thank you. And I would hear that so many times. And I have my family's predominantly Jamaican,
Hmm.
and they love nursing. And it's nothing against nursing. We need our nurses. I love
Uh-huh.
our nurses. But the main thing that I was always hearing was, you should go into nursing. Why are you doing that? You're not going to make any money. Please do not project that onto me. I promise
Hmm.
you, I'll be fine. And that I
Yes. Yes. Carolina Smith said, yes, I experienced that as well. People will project their
Mm,
fears onto you. But here's the thing, like you said, you knew exactly what you wanted to do. You knew what your calling was. I just have a hard time for her saying that to you. And you're like, I left with tears.
yeah.
Whenever I have anyone, especially, and I'm just going to say it, if you are a Black or brown woman
Yes.
or a male, I highly encourage you to go into the field because we need more representation of
Mm,
us in the field, and
absolutely.
representation matters. It definitely matters. Okay. So that didn't discourage you.
Oh, not at all. I'm not someone you can actually say certain things to, and I'm just gonna be like, you know what, you're right. I am
Mhm.
definitely the opposite. You tell me I can't do something, let me show you. And that's just what I've been doing. And that's the type of message I try to inspire my other women that I meet.
Mhm.
Do it. Okay? Don't let anyone
Absolutely.
stop you. Don't let anyone talk you out of it. Let's just do it smart though. Let's come up with a plan. So
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. So you go, you leave Fort Drum, you leave us up there, snowed in the winter. It was okay. All right. For y'all who don't know, you're going to either be snowed in or snowed out. You move down, you start Clark Atlanta, HBCU. How
yeah.
was that experience?
It was how was that experience? I was like, let me think about it. I would say it was beautiful and it was confusing for me. I'm coming out of this structured environment, um, highly, I believe, depressed at the time. And now I feel like I'm free.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surrounded by Black and brown people, and we're talking about everything under the sun and mental health and making money and how we can improve us as people. I met so many beautiful people during my tenure there. It was just a great experience overall.
I love it. And staying at home with your mom.
Yes. So people will frown upon that, right? You're staying
Uh-huh.
at home in my 20s. It's like, that's not cute. But
Only in Atlanta, they will.
yeah, we can be pretty pretentious out here.
Hmm.
But it really helped me. It really gave me that jump start to my career. I was able to save a lot of money, so that once I graduated from this school, I was able to focus just on school. I didn't have to focus on
Mm,
working or anything. I was able to just stay focused, and it just led to a beautiful transition.
I
Moved out,
love it.
I was able to get my furniture. Like that first month, I went crazy. It was great.
How did you know social work was the career path for you?
So I was surrounded by social workers, psychologists. I was
Mhm.
surrounded by everyone. And the people I related to the most was social workers, right? Because social work, we don't just look at the brain. We do, but we don't just look at the brain. We want to know
Mhm.
everything about you. It's a holistic approach. What's your family life like? What's going on? Finance, career. We wanted to know everything about you because all of that matters to us. And when I saw that I can do that, and I could get into private practice, and I could, possibly sell books and do this and do. The sky was the limit to me. I didn't understand. Everyone kept saying, "Oh, you don't make any money. Oh, you're gonna work at defect." No shots at defects. We need them, right? We
Mhm.
need the child protective services. That's not the ceiling, basically, is what I'm trying to state. So I knew it was the field for me. I truly did. Meeting all those people that I worked around.
I love that. Um, you sound exactly like me when I say,
Mm,
no offense to Child Protective Services, no offense to the state social workers. That's just not where I see me. I see me in my nice office speaking
yeah.
with my client who wants to be there, right? They want to be there, right? They are seeking me out, what I have to say. We are looking at the whole person, right?
Yes.
And I want to get in to your brain, your heart, and your behavior, and let's talk about
Yes.
it. Yes.
No,
Okay.
that's it.
When you graduated,
Mhm.
because when you graduate with your master's degree in social work, this is like a milestone moment. In social work, ladies and gentlemen, you have many milestone moments that you have to surpass. Just like your medical doctor, just like your psychiatrist, who's going to prescribe you medication. We have milestones we have to do. We have to do clinical hours, internship that I say we're working for free. Um, clinical hours, depending on what state you are licensed in, it may be 2,000 hours, 3,000 hours. What that looks like is 2 years of internship that you're working in whatever environment. Graduation is a milestone, hitting those clinical hours is a milestone.
Mm,
Passing your licensure exam is the major milestone in
mm,
social work because you can have your master's degree. However, if you really want to go further and really make the money and have those credentials, you can have an MSW behind your name. But if you're a social worker, you want LCSW behind your name. Or mine's, I'm licensed out of the state of Ohio. So it's
mm,
LISW,
okay.
equivalent, same thing, same
Mhm.
exact same thing. So milestone moment. You graduate, you graduate with your master's degree. And I remember seeing this all on Facebook. I'm sitting back there, yes, yes, she doing it, right? I'm excited because guess what? And I believe when you either graduated or passed your licensure exam, I posted on your Facebook, welcome. We've been waiting for you.
Oh,
Hmm.
what a
Yes,
beautiful message.
I
Yes.
posted that on your Facebook. After you graduated with your master's degree, what was the next step? Did you take your exam right away? Because I'm guessing you're licensed out of Georgia.
Yes. So I'm
Okay.
licensed in Georgia. I actually work for an agency that does work in the community.
Hmm.
One of my colleagues set me up with it. It was a great opportunity. I was working with them for a while, and they were like, Bianca, we need you to at least have your associate type license, right? So I
Hmm.
call this the baby license. This is
Yes.
for the big license.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, let me take this exam. And so I take the exam. I pass it first go around,
Hmm.
which is
That's the easy one, the easiest one.
easier, I guess. It's hard. It's not an
Yes.
easy exam. I took it, I passed it, and I didn't get a raise. I said, wait, what? They said, well, Bianca, you have to take the exam. And so I was really upset by that. And it just propelled me to go even further, like, okay, I got something for you all. And so
Hmm.
that took me to the journey of you need to go for your LC.
Hmm.
And so I shut down the entire world. I didn't go out. I knew my husband at the time. I was studying for my LC, but we didn't go anywhere. We didn't really, we talked, but it was just like, babe, I have to focus. And he let me zone in, love him to death. And I passed first time flying colors. And
Nice.
this is huge. It's not a testament to me or what I can do. It was just, you really have to shut the world out. I had a
Yes.
friend and she was like traveling, and I'm like, sis, you have to shut the world out for a little bit. You'll pass this exam.
Just for a little bit. Some people longer than others. However,
Mhm.
I don't know how you can pass that exam traveling, partying,
No.
doing what you're normally doing. You really have to be disciplined with that exam. You really have to be disciplined. All right, you do the exam, you passed
Mhm.
it. Did you get a raise?
Oh, at that point, the raise was it was, and mind you, I was still doing relatively. Why is it making so much noise? I was making relatively a decent amount of money to say that I was coming out of the military because I was doing not the military, out of grad school. I was
Mhm,
doing contract services. So when you do contract services, you can get paid a little bit more. In this
mhm,
position, they gave me 40 an hour as someone coming out of school.
mhm.
That's not bad, right?
That's not bad.
Whereas other people were telling me, no, you need to go into the hospital setting and maybe they won't pay you a lot, but this is how you have to do it and you'll get your hours this way. And I tell you, I'm just always against the grain. I don't want to do it that way. I would still have a certain lifestyle I like to maintain. And so that's the way I chose to do it. And the raise, it wasn't what I wanted. So I just hopped around for a while, just trying to find myself and what felt right.
Find your place.
Yeah.
You mentioned you and your husband were you was not married at that time.
No, no.
Okay.
Not
You
while I
was
was
not go ahead.
not while I was studying, no.
Not while you were studying. So when did you get married? Because these pictures, this wedding, this beautiful baby that came out of this whole situation. Okay. How tell me, when did you get married? Or did you say, wait, husband? What's your
Oh
husband's first
no, no, I did not make Rico.
Rico, did you say this is what I was gonna say? Did you say, Rico, let me pass this exam and then we can get married? What did you say?
Stop. Let's go. I got a clock. Let's go. So it was a little like, hey, I'm not sitting. Nobody puts baby in a corner is my favorite phrase. But it was one of those things like, my love, you want to marry her. Stop playing with her. So we got married 2021.
Oh.
Yes. And our baby happened. Well, maybe I'm saying too much. Honeymoon. She was a honeymoon baby.
That's okay. That is totally okay.
Yes.
That is totally okay. I'm sure once you guys at that wedding reception, everybody was like, when is the baby coming? When is the baby coming?
So that is some people, we need to stop doing this. Stop talking about people's physiques, right? Because I've had some people say, oh, I knew you was pregnant at the wedding. First of all, maybe I eat a little bit too much, but I wasn't pregnant at the wedding. Okay, I really got in shape for that wedding.
Oh my goodness. Was you pregnant at the wedding?
No. I had a little bit, but overall,
we have a question. Shakira. Okay, Shakira is actually in Texas, and she's actually about to retire out of the Army. So she was the one who said loophole, and I met her up at Fort Drum. She has a question, and she said this is really for the both of us. She's in the MSW program now, and when would you recommend she takes the exam?
When does she graduate?
Shakira. So really, and that is determining on when do you graduate, because I believe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because they change the rules all the time. You cannot sit for the exam until you have your MSW and your clinical hours. Is it? No, you can sit for it, I think, before your clinical hours, or I can't. I think you have to. I don't know. What is it for you?
It depends on the exam. So remember when I talked about the baby exam for Georgia, that's called your licensed master social work. And that exam you could take as soon as you graduate, fresh out the gate. You take your exam. It wasn't truly useful for me at that time because it didn't give me a raise. It didn't do much for me, but show me how the exam works. So then once you do that, 3,000 hours later, mine was 3,000 hours of clinical hours and supervision. That's your direct one-on-one supervision or group supervision. Then you can sit. You have to do this big old packet and you get to sit for the exam. And once it's done, it's beautiful. But if you have any questions, I'm an open book. I will tell you exactly what steps are needed to get to the LC.
SW. Well, here's the thing, Shakira, I'm going to add in there. It really depends on your state, right, of where you're going, because you're looking at it from Georgia's perspective, right? From the state of Ohio, you can sit for that first exam with your bachelor's in social work. Yes, I got hired up at Fort Drum for the government I had my master's degree, but I had my bachelor's license. I didn't even have my independent license when the government hired me.
Wow.
So it really depends on what state and what, what their criteria is. However, I was done with my clinical hours. No, actually, I was still getting clinical hours when I was in up at Fort Drum.
That would make
I had at least 2,000 in New York, wanted 3,000, but I wasn't even taking the exam for New York. But they was
good
like,
for you.
no, you're in New York. We want you to get the 3,000. I'm like, what? Are
Yeah,
you serious?
the
So it
money.
really, it really depends where it is. So she said, she starts her field practice this summer. Oh, I hope it's somewhere you want to be. It will be next year spring. I believe my foundation is 450. Your foundation is 450 hours. Girl, if you
Mm,
I don't know if that's 400, you only need 450 hours in the state of Texas, you stay in Texas.
right. Don't you move.
Oh my God, you definitely stay in Texas.
Woo.
So Bianca, you said, you bounced around.
I did.
Bouncing around, what type of agencies did you bounce around to? Did you do private practice? Did you do still agency? Like what did you do?
Yeah, so it's basically I did a lot of agencies, and the primary person that I would see was Black and brown people, and they typically come from low socioeconomic backgrounds, basically the
Mhm.
hoods, right? And so
Okay.
I would go to their homes and render care and talk to them about their issues and challenges. So these were mainly Medicaid, Medicare type clients. So Georgia
Mm.
has a great program where they allow agencies to let us render services in these people's homes. Following that, I met someone who had a group practice. And so this showed me the other side. It showed me more of the commercial type of insurances, your private
Mm.
pay type of client. So I went from seeing people who, honestly, it's hard to even try to do mental health services when you don't have money, you don't have food, you don't have your basic necessities.
Mhm.
That's what we're taught. Those have to be
They have to be
solid.
met. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
before we can even go there, but the government doesn't care. It's one of those, hey, just fix it. And so to meet the other side where people are doing well, they're doing very well for themselves and they're having different types of issues, it was just like, oh, this is attractive as well.
Mm. So it was like, oh, the money and the environment. This is like matching with who I am as a
It is, yeah.
person.
And I don't get me wrong, I love the clients from the type
Mhm.
core agencies because I'm from the hood. Like, let's just be honest. That's how I was raised. I was raised in the Bronx, New York,
Mhm.
straight out of, some sketchy areas. We're talking drug, violence, all of that. And so I relate to them. Yet here I am on this other side and I can relate as well. So it's beautiful when you can do both.
Mhm.
You can be both.
So me personally, I do think it's important for us to go into those environments and work in those agencies, especially when you first start. I mean, you could do
Yes.
it whenever you want to in your career. However, I think it's important for you to touch that population to keep you in touch with reality,
Right.
right? Because it's easy to get out of touch with reality, but you need to know that these problems really do exist. We know the problems exist because we come from the problems where they exist. However, when you're in a different position that you can help now and you can relate and
Mhm.
you can have that same conversation with them, you can talk their language, right?
Right.
It just takes you to a whole nother level. It's a value added service for you in your practice. But when you do get to private practice, you can talk the language of anyone and everyone who's coming into
Absolutely.
your office.
You better
Yes. And
be.
you can switch it up depending on
Love
who's
to
coming
switch
through.
up.
Yep.
Especially when my clients come in, they just feel seen, they feel heard. My Black women, when they come into that office, and this happened in the military actually. So I have a soldier and she's sitting there and she's a Black woman and I come out to greet her and we walk to our office. She still has this demeanor of just, I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm pissed. And I have to show you this because people will play with you in the military as a Black woman. They just will. And when they come and they sit in my office, the tears would just come. They would
Mm-hmm.
just stream down beautiful faces because it was like, I'm safe here.
Mm-hmm.
She sees
Mm-hmm.
me. I can talk to her. I can be real with her. So that was just the jump start of me loving working with Black women. Now, do I work with guys? I do.
Mm-hmm.
They're a different story. But I love my Black women, Black and brown women. I really do. I just see you, sis. I see you.
Yes, I see you. And um, I work at West Point. When
Oh,
it comes to our Black and brown women, what I love is when I walk into the lobby and it's a young Black cadet or young Black soldier
mhm.
sitting in the lobby, and I come out, Bianca, and they look up and they're like, what? And I'm like, come on, let's come on in.
Isn't
And
that
as soon as you
beautiful?
say, it makes me feel good because I feel seen and I love the fact that they feel seen. And as
Yes.
soon as they come in your office and you close the door and you do say, how are you doing? What brings you in? And they feel like, oh, I can actually talk to someone
I can
who
talk
knows me.
someone who gets it and knows me.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's why, like you stated before, we need more Black and brown people in this field. And
Hmm.
we also need to start talking to our counterparts who are white and teaching them, like, you can't just use textbook stuff with our people. You use the
Mm-mm.
textbook, but you have to add some sauce to it. You just have
Hmm.
to. We're different.
Yeah, we are different. Representation matter, and we're definitely going to speak on that. Some of our counterparts are open to it, but some of our counterparts are like, you know what? I think I want to have you see Bianca.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
um, I think you should see
Fine.
Bianca, right?
Okay, I'll see
I've
you.
had that calls. Can you see that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. No problem.
Mhm.
They need me anyway.
Exactly. I
They need
love
me.
that. Yes,
Yeah.
Vanessa. I love it.
What made you? Because now you're in private practice.
Yes.
Even though I know we just jumped over
I
the
know,
story
right?
with your husband and that beautiful baby, we're gonna come back to that baby,
Oh.
and we're gonna come back to you too, Rico. We ain't forgetting about you either. What made you decide private practice? Because that right there is one of the goals that when you do get, for some people, not everyone, that's one of the goals when you get your independent license. Okay, you
Mhm.
know what? I want to go in private practice. I want to run my own show. I want to do this. I want to do that. You're in private practice now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, sis, again, another example of don't tell me what I can't do.
Please don't do it. And I was told that even in the military, oh, you don't want to go private because that's more liability on you. You're in charge of this and that. You should just work with, yeah, I promise you. And these are people who are psychologists and,
Don't
yeah.
project,
But
don't
anyway,
project your fear of
yeah.
paying your high malpractice insurance on me. Okay.
Because mine is real low.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Because my malpractice insurance, I can afford it. So don't project that on me. Okay.
Yes. But what
Anyway.
really got me into private practice, my daughter. So when she was born, changed my life. And I know people say this, but it's different when I believe when you are an older mom and you're used to running your own business and schedules and this and that, and then you become a mom, the money just it just I love her. And then it made me really look into what happens to men and women after a baby's introduced. So I saw the statistics of men when they get married, right? And
Mhm,
they have a baby, nothing changes financially for them. Now I
mhm,
know some guys might argue with me. I could argue all day with them. But it does. It gets better. They make more. It's just statistically proven on average.
mhm.
On average, women make less.
Less. Yep.
When a baby comes, we make even. Okay. So when I saw that this was
Mhm,
happening, I said, there's no way because I truly enjoy raising Bella. That's my baby girl. Like we hit the streets. We are outside, we're learning, we're having fun. but I also enjoy what I do. And I didn't want to have to choose. I'm not a girl where you can make me choose. And my husband laughs at me because we'll get into like these funny little things of, okay, what about, do you want the wedding or you want the house? Both. Don't choose.
Both.
I'm choosing
Mm-hmm.
both.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I want. I want to be able to raise my child, but I also want to run my own business and be there for other women, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
that's how that happened. So now I'm getting my private practice going, and I want to create it to a point where I get to train other therapists so that they can truly run my practice, have someone in charge of it, and then I can venture out into the streets, right? As I like to
Mm-hmm.
call it. And I can teach other people how we do this. And I can talk to other women and inspire them and coach them. And girl, I came
Mm-hmm.
from the streets, the hood. I don't want to say the streets. I will never like that. But I came from the hood. If I can do this, sis, I promise you, with the right
Okay.
systems in place, you can do it.
So tell us the Cliff Notes version of how to start a private practice.
What is great about our field, we can actually get into private practice without needing a whole lot of capital. We're just in high demand. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
like one of those great things, not so great things, but mental health is here and it's here to stay, I believe. So it's one of those things where you want to start getting on panels, insurance panels, if that's your thing. Um, Marketing, that's what I've been working on. Just trying to make sure people know that you're here and you're here of service. Get your Psychology Today profile. You got to
Mm-hmm.
get your face out there. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that a lot of social workers like to be on the, behind the scenes. But unfortunately, if you really want to make an impact and you want some money, you have to put your face out there.
You have to
And
be
so
seen.
that is
Mm-hmm.
just the cliff notes. Getting yourself, either decide if you want to be on insurance panels. Do you want to accept private pay? What's the price going to be? Find you a coach. You are saving yourself so much heartache, headache, terrible mistakes if you find a coach, someone who's been doing this, or a mentor. I was blessed with a mentor who sat down with me and was just like, her name is Sharon, and she was just like, okay, this is what you want to do, this, and I'm sitting here just writing it all down.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. And there are women like that who are willing to give you whatever you want to know.
There are women out there. They're not gatekeepers. They're
It's
excited. They're not going to discourage you. They're going to encourage you. Like, yes, you need to be in private practice.
right.
I know you take private pay, right?
Mhm.
Um, do you mind if I say, well, it's on Psychology Today?
Right.
People, listen,
Yeah.
sis is $150 an hour. She is not playing.
No.
Okay. And when I saw it, I was like, yes, that's right. The price is the price. Okay.
It's the price.
With the insurance panels, how difficult was that for you to get the insurance, be on the insurance panels? Because you take a lot of insurance.
I do. And what helped was the group practice. They were able to get me paneled, but even that transition from being under a group practice to now being under yours, oh, it's some work.
What's the
It's some
difference
work.
between what is a group practice for people who don't know what you're talking about?
So a group practice is a group of clinicians, and we're all coming together and we're providing therapy under one company, one umbrella, right? Private is it's you. It's most
Mm-hmm.
of the time it's just solo you. Where right now I have to say I'm just solo private practitioner because it is just me, but the goal is to expand, of course.
Okay, and you will definitely expand with private practice. Who are what's the demographics of the clients that you mainly see?
So right now, I want to say 95% Black and brown women. And the rest, I would give the men, a couple of teens, but overall, it's mainly Black and brown women. These are career women
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. I have a couple of women who are stay at home, but they still do well for themselves. They have families. Uh, yeah, it's the
Mm-hmm.
group of women who are sometimes forgotten, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I see now.
With us, with Black and brown women, excuse me, Black and brown women,
Mm-hmm.
one thing, and the theme of this show is protecting your mental health.
Mm,
With protecting your mental health, we say that in our field all the time, right? You have to protect your mental health. You have to protect your mental health. Myself, when I say protect your mental health, that means anything that is pulling from you,
mm,
pulling your energy from you, pulling your self-esteem from you, anything that is making you feel less than versus more than, those are the things you want to protect yourself from. Those are the people you want to protect yourself from.
mhm.
Um, with us Black and brown women, in my intro, I said, if have you ever been having a bad day and someone says, "Oh my God, you're bipolar," right? And it's an insult, and they're meaning it as an insult. However, that woman may be the woman say, "Oh my God, am I bipolar?" Right?
Right.
What do you think when you hear someone say that in joking, or they may be serious, because people don't understand the real clinical definition of
Right.
bipolar disorder. They just think, oh, because I'm having a bad day and my mood changed. No, I got a I'm having a legit bad day.
For a reason.
For a
Absolutely.
reason, right? What do
Absolutely.
you think when you hear or see someone being called bipolar and you're like, no, that's not it? What do you think about that?
I think it's just awful when people weaponize, they use mental health as a weapon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me call you bipolar. Let me call you narcissistic. Let me call you these names so that I can be manipulative in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't have to pay attention to what you're truly feeling and that you're really having a bad day because of this or that. Like these are normal emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So with bipolar, it's commonly misdiagnosed. I'm probably
Mm-hmm.
saying that word wrong, little tongue twister, but it's misdiagnosed. Um, we have different criteria, as you stated, for it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's a lot of people who don't even know that they have bipolar,
Mm-hmm.
and yet we're making fun of it or we're using it as this ugly thing when it's truly a debilitating disorder.
Mm-hmm.
So I even had a friend one time, and she's just talking, we're having casual conversation, and she's letting me know, like, I really don't even need sleep. I probably go about, maybe a couple hours, and I'm fine. I've been like this for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to diagnose her,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't, but it was one of those things like, oh, you need to talk to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? You can't function like that. And that is a sign of bipolar. It's not needing that much sleep, right? Or we
When you're
have
in
our
that manic state. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
in the manic state and we're doing these risky behaviors and we're
Mm-hmm.
doing the excessive spending. We're not talking about your little trip to the mall. We're talking about some serious,
Maxing.
yeah.
Yes.
And
Maxing out the cards.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and these manic episodes, they can last at least 7 days for it to be
Mm-hmm.
considered bipolar one. They're lasting this long and you're in this state. Imagine what happens when you come out of it because your body can't sustain that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to crash. And that's when we come with the suicidal ideation at times because
Mm-hmm.
all of those behaviors you just did and the things you didn't even want to do, you have to face it now. So I just cannot stand the overuse of bipolar as a weapon, narcissism. There's a few trauma
There is a few.
bonding. It's like these words have been made popular by social media, and I get it. I'm glad that some people truly know what a
Mm-hmm.
narcissist is. It's important to know that. But we can't just throw these words out just because someone is, being
Having a
selfish.
bad day. Mm-hmm.
Right. Some
Mm-hmm.
people are just selfish, or they posting a lot of pictures of themselves, and you're like, "Oh, you're a narcissist." No, that's not what that means. It's not.
Oh my goodness.
Go
Um,
see someone. That's basically what it boils down to. Let's see.
man. Bipolar disorder. I remember when I was in graduate school and Dr. Jingaleski, she talked about bipolar too, right?
Mhm.
And she said you look at it, and this is how she taught us how to take the exam. You look at it like the two poles. The one pole you're going up to the manic phase, one pole you're coming down to the depressed stage.
Yes.
And here's the thing: when anyone use bipolar disorder, there's always a time frame to be in these states
Yes.
if you're truly diagnosed with bipolar disorder. You heard her say at least 7 days. So 7 days you are in a manic phase. Manic, what does that look like? Promiscuous behavior,
Mm.
okay, going out to the bars and just getting ratchet for real with strangers, maxing out all the credit cards, having
Mhm.
your with the trunk filled up with all of these packages that you do not need.
Right.
However, I'm buying them anyway. It does
Yeah.
not matter. I'm gonna bounce every check. I'm gonna run over every credit card without thinking about any consequences.
Yes.
Manic can come in so many different ways. Manic can actually come in with over cleaning and cleaning your house for 7 days. Hun,
OCD
you
was the other one I said that gets misdiagnosed all the
misdiagnosed.
time.
Absolutely. That
Yep.
manic state for 7 days with very little sleep. You can even be in the manic stage even if you're at work. The person who's in there when you come in the morning and they're still there in the evening and they're getting every project done for seven
Mm.
days straight. But then you know what happens in the next 7 days? You don't see them
Right.
because they cannot get out of the bed. They're
Yeah.
in the house, curtains drawn. They're calling. They probably won't even call out. Some people get
Mhm.
fired because they
Mhm.
can't even pick up the phone and call out. So that is not your everyday person. So
Yes.
when people say, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you? You're bipolar." Oh my gosh. You know what? You're about to make me snap. That's what you're about to
Exactly.
make me do.
Love it. Yes. You said a mouthful there. Couldn't have said it
So
better.
narcissists, right? That
Mm.
one, that's another one that drives me nuts. Oh, because I choose to get my point across and I'm not going to go with what you're saying. Now I'm a narcissist because I love me. Now I'm a narcissist. I'm not trying to make you and the world love me. I just love me.
Right. Right. And people who are narcissists, like the behaviors are just grandiose.
Mm,
They need all of the attention. They cannot empathize for the most part. They're envious or they become shameful when they feel certain things. It's a lot. It's an exaggerated state of being.
mm.
So are there narcissists in the world? Absolutely. Every man who did you wrong is not a narcissist.
No, they're not. Every
Every
man,
sister
right.
who did you wrong is not a narcissist.
Exactly. Yes. Because people will think, oh my gosh, they're talking so bad about me and he just want everything to be about him. He's a narcissist. No, he's not, sis. No, he's not. He's telling the
He's
story from
self-centered.
his perspective.
Yeah. And he can be words. Don't get me wrong, he could be some words.
Yeah, but that one, maybe not.
I just don't want us to diagnose people because even people with narcissism deserve a therapist and they deserve to be heard. I
Hmm.
believe. We as therapists come in as objective. We're
Hmm.
here to help and hear anyone. Oh
Hmm.
Lord, I hear the child down there.
And hear what you're not saying. We
Right.
hear what you're not saying, right? Let me fill in the blanks for what you're not saying, or maybe what you actually mean to say.
Absolutely.
Protecting your mental health, right? What does that mean to you? How do you because oh, I love it that you said you have black and brown women.
Mhm.
That's the highest demographic that's coming into your private practice, which says a lot. Says that they are identifying that they need to take care of themselves. How do you in your practice get that message across to them because they're coming to you because you're the subject matter expert? You went on mute. Okay, there you
Right.
go.
So when it comes to protecting your mental health, that means actually seeing someone, a professional, right? I hear too many times that oh, I don't have the time to go see someone. I don't believe in it, or what. There's just so many excuses. And when you're in pain physically, you go to a doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want someone to help you with that pain. So why, when we come into pain emotionally, we're just like, no, that costs too much. It
Mm-hmm.
can cost you everything, actually, to not go through that, to not work through that. Through pain, we can really come out to the other side and become
Mm-hmm.
some amazing, wonderful people who can think and just focus more on beautiful things. That's one of
Mm-hmm.
my little phrases I like to use, because when you are in that state of feeling just down and sad and depressed or anxious, your body is in overdrive. Your body is doing too much. It can literally kill you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's when I hear protect your mental health. I hear go see someone, sis. And don't think because I'm a therapist, I don't go to therapy. I had a therapist. She saved
Mm-hmm.
my life. Okay. God and my therapist. I love
Mm-hmm.
it. Okay.
Yes.
I'm not here for it.
Shakira is saying, what did she say? She said, what about since you both deal with military and served, what do you say about the soldiers that hide everything from their spouse and control them? I saw this all the time. Like they are their own person, you don't control them. I'm not really tracking where you're going with that, Shakira. Do you get what she's saying with that?
I'm not quite sure, but I'm not sure if you're trying to state that maybe they're narcissists, this soldier, because that's how
Mm-hmm.
they're acting. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
some of it could be PTSD. Some of
That's
it
what I
could
was,
be
yeah, that's what I
right.
was thinking.
It's
Yeah.
possible. We That's why we just don't diagnose. We're taught not to diagnose the first session, but for insurance purposes, we have no choice.
Hmm.
Um, but we would need more information to truly just get a scope of what it is you're dealing with.
Yeah, you need way more information to get a
Mhm.
real good picture of what's going on. Post-traumatic stress disorder, right? That's kind of another diagnosis that's sometimes overdiagnosed by conversation, but
Mhm.
underdiagnosed clinically.
I can see that.
Yeah. And for a long time, let me see. I have heard a soldier tell his wife when he calls, she's I don't know. So she said, I have heard a soldier tell his wife when I call, she better effing answer. That's
Woo.
marriage therapy. That's something else.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's yeah,
They got
that's
something else
something else. That's
going
not narcissist or bipolar disorder. That's control, power and control that
on.
they need the marriage
Mhm.
therapist. Or
Emotional
I can't
abuse.
speak on their marriage. But post-traumatic stress disorder. So my husband, he's retired army as well.
Okay.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can show up in many different ways. And this is the one that annoys me with post-traumatic stress disorder, when someone says, oh my gosh, they've been through something, and it's my trauma, and the person says, have you served in the army, have you deployed? The army does not own post-traumatic stress disorder. Like, deployment does not own that diagnosis. Anything could have happened to this person. That doesn't mean,
Right.
like, if a wife comes in and she's saying trauma, and your counterparts are saying, did she serve? Did she in the army?
I've
There's this
actually
thing called
seen,
vicarious trauma also.
yes, I've actually seen um, someone kind of like disregard his wife's diagnoses because of that. And it was just disheartening to see that people really believe that PTSD has to be some type of combat related
Hmm.
diagnosis. You can be sexually assaulted. You can have
Exactly.
some childhood abuse. You could have witnessed domestic violence. You could have, honestly, a lot of people who have lived in the hood, I believe, have PTSD. Right?
Mm,
You have
yes.
to operate with your head on a swivel. You have to be what we call hyper
Hyper
vigilant.
vigilant.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
It
Yes.
programs you to be in this state of emergency all the time, and it will make you sick. I know I had stomach issues, heart palpitations. These are true signs. So if you notice you have that sweaty palms, or you have to sit and look at the door to make sure who's coming in and who's coming out, these are signs that
Hmm.
something's going on. I'm not saying you have PTSD, just signs that maybe you should talk to someone.
Right. I mean, not like you said, not saying you have PTSD. However, it is symptoms.
Yes.
It is symptoms of something. And
Yes.
it may not be post-traumatic stress disorder. It is symptoms of something. Bianca, I am just enjoying this conversation with you.
Right. So,
I am enjoying this. Ladies and gentlemen out there hearing this, I hope you are enjoying this conversation also. I know people are enjoying and they're chiming in and they're engaged in this
good.
conversation. You have your private practice. We do. I have to take this over here. I was on one of these platforms, Facebook or Instagram, something, and I saw your post and you said it went along the lines of there is a God. And I have to put this up here. It was with the SBA, the Small Business Association. Can you please tell us what was this high accomplishment that somebody told you you couldn't do and you was like, watch this?
So exciting. It was actually a middle school friend of mine. She works for the military in some capacity. And she was like, have you ever considered working on government contracts? What you talk about?
Mhm.
So when she started telling me more about it, I was like, say less. I'm going to look into this. I looked into it. I contacted an organization that helps veterans, women. It's not just veterans. Now, mine is disabled veteran small business, but they do it for Black women, Black men, women owned, anyone who has like that disadvantage from,
Mhm.
the standard white man who is in
Mm.
control of a lot of the business practices. It's for us to bid on these contracts that are so lucrative and so needed, right? We talk
Mhm.
about the VA, we talk about the military. They need Black and brown therapists. So here I am coming in as a disabled veteran. Hey, Carlita. Coming in as a disabled veteran, and I'm a Black woman. The Army or whomever in the government needs my services, and I am willing. Hey, if anyone wants to
Mhm.
partner up, let's talk. I'm so excited. I have a mentor. Her name is Sheena. I can't remember her name. I'm bad with last names, but her name is Sheena, and this is her thing. Government contracting. She's a Black woman. You should have her on your show too. I'm gonna give you a list of people, actually.
But tell us what did now when you say government contracts, what exactly are you doing for the
Right.
government?
So for me, it would be mental health services or products related to mental health, but it could be anything. I know people who sell tissues and toiletries or what have you to the government, and these are $1 million contracts for services. The
So
military,
you're
I mean, the government buys everything.
they need everything, right? So
Yes.
what exactly are you going to be doing?
So with me, I definitely want to provide mental health services for the government in some capacity, but I also want to have some type of products, right? I'm working on a journal, I'm working on an app, I'm working on a book, I'm working on certain things that I know could help and
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily need that one-on-one therapy, right? Where here's this workbook that you can use for your soldiers or whomever you want to give it to.
Mhm.
So it's selling products and services to the government essentially. Now I don't know all the answers because I'm still a newbie at this, but I know I'm certified. Thank
Well,
you to God.
congratulations.
Thank you
Listen, I
so
always
much.
say when one of us win, we
Oh
all
yes,
win.
we do.
Yes,
We do.
we all win. So that means you've already opened up the door for other Black and brown women coming behind you. So that way you've already went through. When I come through, listen, you're familiar with me. You know who I am, right? So you're saying, my sis, we're on the same page. We're
That's
all here together.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you.
When I saw the post, look, I was just so excited. I be getting excited about everybody's
I
wins.
see. I love that. That's a beautiful
Get
personality right
so
there.
excited about a win. We are coming closer to the end of our hour. Um, I want to two things I want to is Shelby, she's like, congratulations.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you.
Tell us about this beautiful Bella because I saw I saw a TikTok video. You didn't have Bella's strawberries.
Ooh,
And
Susan.
Bella does not like commercials on
Mm,
her iPad.
yes,
However, you told a very beautiful story about Bella when you had her, and I'm just going to say the key word albinism. Am I saying that right?
that is correct. Thank
Okay.
you. You really do your homework. I love it.
Yes, I did my homework. I did my homework. Tell us about this journey and this story about Bella.
And I love that you use the word albinism because people tend to use the other word, which is considered derogatory, right? So it's kind of like how Black people can say the N word, yet it is derogatory, yet it
Mhm,
isn't a term of
mhm,
endearment. It's kind of the same with the albinism community.
mhm,
At times, they could be okay with saying albino. I'll just say it
mhm,
for these purposes, but it is considered derogatory. So we do say person of albinism or
mhm,
baby of
mhm,
albinism. So yes, Bella, she came out and I'm just thinking she's just this little light baby, right?
mhm,
My husband Rico, he's a Black man, but he is lighter in complexion. So I thought nothing of it. And we we had to go to the doctor because she had a temperature, she was dehydrated. It was one of her only sicknesses that was just, it was terrible. And we went to the hospital, and the doctor is just kind of watching her. And she's like, has she always done this thing with her eyes? And I'm like, yeah, I was told that it was normal. And typically it is normal when a baby
mhm.
first comes out to have that thing with their eyes. It's called nystagmus. Um, but she looked concerned. And she was trying to keep me calm, just like, I really just want you to check it out. And here's a list of doctors. And I'm like, oh, you're more concerned about her eyes than it's dehydration. This must be something serious. So I
Yeah.
go to the doctor, and the doctor is just like, my husband wasn't with me. And this is my first time seeing this doctor. And she's just like, yeah, we have to check her brain. If it's not something related to her eyes, she might have glaucoma. She might have, we don't know, cataracts. We
Mhm.
really have to get her seen. And here I am just in tears. Not my baby, Lord Jesus, no. I am just, I know I'm smiling, but it was really just like, oh. And so we went to church, and I had the pastor, and he prayed over her. It was so beautiful. Shouts out to the Dream Center of Atlanta. And he just prayed that nothing is wrong with Bella. Bella is fine. And so we went to our doctor's appointment 2 days later, and the doctor is a man, and he's doing her checking of her eyes, and he's just
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, this is normal for people with her condition. What condition is that?
Yeah. Yeah. I would have been like, what do you mean her condition?
Right. He's like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, people of albinism, they have very they don't have much pigmentation in their eyes, and you see her skin. And me and my husband are like, who got albinism? No way. And he's just like, yeah. So when I went back to the doctor, he's like, well, if I saw your husband, I definitely would have, put that in as a possible reason why her eyes are doing that. So people tend to think she is this biracial baby. And I can see that.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
needless to say, she's this beautiful baby of albinism. Her eyesight is great thus far. I'm so excited about that because we were
Nice.
told people with albinism typically can't drive. Not all of them,
Really? I
but yeah,
didn't
they're
know that.
considered
Mhm.
legally blind. A lot of them. And so far, we're good. I'm not claiming that, right? God said
There you
she's
go.
that girl is beautiful. She's running around. She could see very well to me. And I just
She can see if those commercials come on her iPad.
iPad is thrown. But yeah, that's Bella. I
Oh
just
my God.
want her just like I want her well informed of being a baby of albinism, but also being a Black woman because already she gets comments like mainly directed towards me, like, "Oh, how does it feel? You have a white baby. Two Black people made a white baby," and I'm like, "Oh, so
Do they see your husband?
they see my husband, and that's when he gets offended. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you trying to say? What are you trying to imply?" And I know some people just say ignorant
Mm-hmm.
things at times, and I'm okay with educating you.
Yeah.
Don't do too much though, because I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
educate you one way or another way, and we want the next way because that's my baby.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Well,
So,
see, when I did not think she had albinism.
right.
When I saw your husband, I was like, hey, her husband is light. So of course the
Yeah.
baby is light. Like that's what I thought.
Apparently, it's a spectrum. So they can be extremely fair, like you see the fair skin and their white hair, or it could be more on her side where it's more reddish hair
Hmm.
and the skin has a little bit of melanin in it. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's Bella.
Shakira says someone said that to her. They didn't think BJ was her son because BJ has red hair and he's
Mm,
light skinned. Um, oh, but believe me, Shakira, he is all yours.
right. So
We
just like
know he is all yours.
I bet people just
Yeah.
say things and they don't realize how just offensive it is. Black people make all sorts of beautiful shades of color. And
Listen,
come on, you don't
listen.
know this by now?
We create some beautiful shades all the way from light,
Yes.
bright, all the way to dark black. Like who did I think that was Chad Ochocinco said he wanted to be blue black
Yeah, I know
because
that's
he thinks blue black is so beautiful.
I love
Um and I love my two black beautiful boys,
I know that's
okay?
funny.
And I
Yes,
love my dark brown complexion and I love all the colors, the shades that we come in.
yes.
I love us.
You better bring
Literally, I love
me
us.
too. Me too. So I'm not gonna let anyone play with my baby. She is not white. She is a Black girl
But she
without
don't look white.
exactly. She got her mama black nose. You know what I mean? Not to say all Black people have big nose, but she has, the Black features, her lips.
Yeah, I'm so confused. I'm so confused by that. Yes, I love blue. See, she said I love blue black. It's beautiful,
It is.
beautiful. So,
Absolutely.
Bianca, as we're coming down to the end of our beautiful conversation,
I know. I miss
is
you.
there anything, right? Um, is there anything you would like to share with the audience about protecting your mental health? Anything that we did not touch on that you want to relay to women of color, men of color, right? Because what we do know is that our men of color suffer in silence. Our men of color their depression is looked at differently, right? As in the clinical office and by society. Okay,
Right.
a men of color depression shows up differently, is treated differently, um, different standards. Right? Is there anything you would like to express to the audience related to protecting your mental health? And being that this is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes. So when it comes to knowing my population, I do service men. It's just not a lot of men that now that I service. My focus is on the Black and brown women. And it's mainly because everything you said was true and valid. It's just I feel that Black and brown women are just highly disrespected. We are not cared for as other populations are. We are
Mhm.
not treated with the same amount of safety and respect and softness that I believe that we deserve. And so I feel that we're neglected so much that I'm here to say, no, I'm going to champion for her. I've always been a girl's girl, even when girls wasn't feeling me too tough, and that's okay. I'm going to fight for you, sis. And so if anyone takes away anything from this conversation, please see someone. Just get evaluated. Just see if you even need therapy in this season of your life. We go through so much with having children, husbands, or trying to find our relationship, our partner, the person we want to be with, careers. There's just so much that weighs on us. Go see someone. It doesn't even have to be me, even though I am pretty good, you know what I'm saying? And if you know that you see someone and that they tell you, hey, I really think you should see someone, don't stop there. If just because you don't like that therapist, don't stop there, right? There are all sorts of therapists. Some are better than others, or some just don't match what you are, you know what I mean? I'm not for everyone, right?
Yes.
So find your therapist. Please do the work.
Yes. I love that. I'm going to piggyback off of that. Representation matters.
Yes.
Not every therapist matches with every client, right? And there does not have to be anything wrong in your life or going on in your life for you to go and seek out a therapist. Okay. Because we tend to think, oh my God, I'm having a breakdown now. I'm having this, I'm having that. And now it's time for me to go see a therapist. Well, now you're doing crisis management.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
You're doing crisis management. And now we have to discuss all of this crisis stuff before we get to really the root of the issue.
Vanessa, you better talk.
Yes. So see a therapist when you are in this state where you're like, you know what? I think I should go and actually identify someone who can relate to me while I am in the state of mind where I can actually clearly see and communicate what's actually what I see may happen in the future. Yeah.
Right. And you might not even recognize some of the signs and the triggers. I know that word gets used a lot, but this whole trauma bond thing, that's not meant to be, oh, someone who has trauma meets somebody else who has trauma and then they bond together. That's actually a false narrative. It's trauma
That's
is when,
codependence.
yes. So the trauma bond is really when the abuser finds and he's with that person who is his victim, and they're I don't want to say he because it could be a she, but they kind of manipulate you into saying words like you're a narcissist or you're exaggerating. Oh no, this didn't really happen to you. It's a way to keep your person in check. It's like Stockholm syndrome. So you might not even realize certain things that are happening, or you just notice that you just get angry out of nowhere, or you cry watching certain commercials or TV shows, or those. That's what we want to get at. Where is this coming from? Let's talk about what happened back then. You'll be surprised. I have a 65-year-old and we're still talking about childhood stuff, but she hasn't let that go yet. And I'm here to help you through that. That's what therapists do. It's going to be painful. It is. But on the other side, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Oh my goodness. It is beautiful on the other side. And I'm going to end with that word beautiful. This was a beautiful conversation. I absolutely enjoyed every second of this conversation with you, Bianca. Thank you so much for coming on this platform with me. Oh my goodness.
I loved it. I'm willing to come back anytime if you have me. This is
absolutely, I will. I want you to listen. I'm going to put you behind stage as we close out, and I will be back.
Bye.
I'm sorry, Bianca. I cut her off before she said bye. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this conversation the way I enjoyed this conversation. If you took anything from this conversation, I hope it was, let me protect my mental health. Let me take care of myself. Maybe, I do need to seek out a therapist. Or if I am seeing a therapist, am I getting the most out of my therapist? Or am I getting what I feel I should get out of my therapist? Am I pushing myself? It is your responsibility to take care of your mental health. Please do that. In closing, I am Vanessa Williamson, the founder of Brown Girls Do Network. However, I do not do this by myself, and I do not say that lightly, okay? I have a whole team of women that help me on this journey in Brown Girls Do Network. This platform is to highlight our brown women and all the beautiful things they are doing in the community. So if you are interested in joining Brown Girls Do Network, please come on this journey with us. We would love to have you. If you have a conversation that you would love to talk to our audience about, please DM me and let's get you on the schedule. Again, I am Vanessa Williamson of Brown Girls Do Network. Thank you. I'm trying to get up my end of video. Thank you for coming on this journey with us, and have a good night.